ahead.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry those of you who tuned into the TV and on the streaming page to see our presentation. We had technical difficulties, and so we're doing this, and we will be putting it up online. Let me welcome everybody to this most unusual candidates night that we've ever had. Usually we, as you know, we have a large audience here that are able to give questions, but we don't have that tonight due to COVID issues. My name is Joe Joust, and I'm the chairman of the election committee, and I will be asking questions to the candidates. One of the candidates is here only virtually. Pat Schaffelin is here due to a COVID quarantine issue, only virtually. Our other two candidates, Robert Klein and John Sullivan, are here in person.
My name is Robert Klein.
Where's your mic? You didn't have it on, but that's okay.
Good evening, I'm John Sullivan.
Go ahead, Pat.
I'm Pat Chafin.
Okay. Okay, now we'll go to questions.
All right, what we're going to do today is we're going to begin with each candidate will have an opportunity to take 3 minutes to give an opening statement. Then we're going to have a series of questions, some for all of the candidates and a few questions just for some or one of the candidates. And finally we'll have a closing statement at the end. For the opening statement, everybody will have 3 times, a little ringing sound will happen when the 3 minutes is over. So we'll just begin at the far end from me. It's going to be John Sullivan, who will give his opening statement.
Hello everybody, my name is John Sullivan. I'm currently the treasurer for the Patio Homeowners Association. Back in 2014, Ted Ice asked me to join the Patio board and fill a vacancy on the board. At that time, the biggest challenge facing the Homeowners Association was the first roof replacement. There was no plan, and we were under-recruited at that time. Ted asked me to formulate a plan to solve the problem. I presented a plan the following year to the board. They approved it, and we replaced our first 49 roofs in 2015. As of today, that plan, with some modifications along the way and an exception policy, we've replaced 261 roofs. We have 476 left, and they will be done by 2028. So here we are in 2021. Once again, we are looking at another significant challenge facing the Patio Homeowners Association. Our community has always been defined by its outstanding appearance and the curb appeal of our homes. It affords us a premium value at the time that we sell our homes. Is that my mic? That's now threatened. It's threatened first and foremost by the take-all root rot that has infected the Wellington and a good portion of west central Florida. Added to that is the once-a-week water restrictions. In the past, the board's plan has budgeted to replace any patches of drying grass with the same type of grass. And in the past, that has maintained our great curb appeal. But these new challenges, that plan no longer works. So much like the roof replacement challenge we faced in 2014, we now face another significant challenge, partial to full lawn replacements. The Combined Grounds Committee has done a great deal on this with research, alternate strategies, testing, demonstrations, and there are many options and solutions to the problem. This coming year, my primary focus will be to develop a plan and a policy for short-term lawn replacements and a long-term plan to address total lawn replacement if that becomes necessary. In addition to that, during the upcoming term, I'm committed to bidding out all of the Patio board's upcoming contracts. That would be the lawn care contract for Rado, our roof contracts, and our painting contract. Lastly, I hope to contribute to an inclusive and residentially focused board that inspires greater participation from the homeowners in the community, for the people to share their life's experiences, to serve the community on a standing committee, a special committee, or on the board of directors. We have a lot of talented people living in the Wellington, and we desperately need their help. I'd like to thank everybody for their consideration and hope that you will vote for me for an additional term on our board of directors. Thank you very much.
And now Pat will have her 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Hi, my name is Pat Chapin. My husband and I became residents of Wellington back in 2011 and have thoroughly enjoyed living in this community. Since that time, I have become involved in the patio board as secretary starting in 2013, which I continued until just recently this year, which I took on the position of president. I have also been involved in the startup of the Midwest Club and was president of that club for the first 3 years. As a sidelight, I also have founded and continue to participate in the 8 o'clock water aerobics class. Believe me, the water is cold. The air is cold, but the water is warm. I had not intended to run for the board this year, but I have been impressed with the interest and the input from so many of you residents about the second roof issue, so that I wanted to remain in order to become involved in that finish and to settle it, and then get our governing documents to be rewritten and approved. I'm aware that there are many, that's going to take a lot of time. I'm asking for your consideration so that I can help continue what our current board has started. Thank you.
And now our third candidate, Robert Klein.
Hello, Wellington homeowners. I'm Bob Klein, a fellow homeowner at 11226 Heathrow Avenue. I would appreciate greatly the opportunity to serve our community as a board member on the Patio Board of Directors. I know the resume I submitted was pretty long-winded, and it still didn't include one important part. We have owned our property for almost 17 years, having purchased it in March 2004 from my wife Kathy's parents. They wanted to live here and picked it out without any input from us. Of course, my wife and I also came to like the community. Our neighbors and the people we met at the pool and clubhouse were friendly. Furthermore, the overall appearance of the community was very appealing. Unfortunately, her parents passed here before 2010. Instead of selling the house, we liked the community so much that we made the house a rental property with the idea of living here when we retire. We have been visiting her parents annually and continue to visit our house to check on our renters as needed. During our last visit, I joined the Veterans Club, contributed to the recent lawn slant clubhouse, garage sale, and offered my help as needed. We retired in November 2019 and began our journey to occupy our house. Now living here as retirees, I was approached to run for the patio board and did some preliminary research to decide how I could be of help, and decided to throw my hat into the ring. My research uncovered, and that's a tentative research, but it uncovered a couple of areas that I think would benefit by my experience as a manager, and specifically as a program manager for an events management contract with the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. Also, I think my recent experience working for the Census Bureau in St. Petersburg, Florida area provided me the opportunity to work successfully with several property managers. I finally concluded that both experiences could be key attributes for a prospective board member. Also, during my research, I found that there are three main areas that the board of directors are responsible for managing: roofing replacement, groundskeeping, landscaping, sod replacement, and painting. Well, painting seems to be working out okay. Therefore, I will give you my thoughts about the other two areas: roof replacement and sod replacement, which assuredly are the most challenging. Right now, roofing seems to be replaced as necessary, as John just mentioned, and funds are taken from the reserves to replace them. However, many more homes are reaching the 20-year point when roofs are considered for replacement by the board, and a budget shortfall in the reserves is looming. Therefore, the following decisions must be made soon by the board. Now, I was in a meeting with John, and he told us about the periodic every 20 years issue, and I think that given the price is probably not reasonable. But it's the other option is one funded by the property manager, by the board, and this would mean an assessment of around $58.33 per month if there's 700 patio homes remaining. Now, of course, John just told me there's not that many, so my research is a little bit out of date. But I think this is the most likely scenario. Therefore, decisions must be made soonest regarding the frequency of re-roofing our homes, developing a budget, and getting homeowners' approval to support it. The groundskeeping, grass issue, root rot issue must also be addressed, as John mentioned, in order to keep up our home value, keep our community appealing to prospective buyers and our current homeowners. Many homes now show that sod is browning out or disappearing, and homeowners are reporting that it takes several months, even years, before sod is replaced. Here's the next.
We're gonna have to interrupt you at this point. You've gone over your time.
I'm almost done.
Okay, go ahead, finish.
There's lack of watering has been a problem. I think that we need to get on with that and replace the sod as necessary now. Decisions must be made by the board and approved by the homeowners to keep the value up for our homes. Thank you for your attention. I ask for your vote.
All right, thank you very much, all. Now we're going to get to the individual questions. We're going to begin with an easy one for all three candidates. Let's go ahead and begin with John Sullivan on this one. What do you see as the most pressing issue for the patio board and why?
Well, as I said in my opening remarks, the most pressing issue is going to be the issue of sod replacement. Currently, we replace sod and we replace browned out areas or overgrown areas with the same Floratam. It worked in the past. With the root rot, it's not working anymore. So we're going to have to come up with a plan. Is it going to be Bahia? Are we going to do, you can't patchwork with Bahia when you have Floratam, so what are we going to do? Front yards, side yards, and it's going to be at a great expense as well. So like the roofing project, I think we need to look at this as a big picture and as a long-term project, and basically put together a plan to, in the interim, not spend good money after bad money, as that expression goes, by just replacing patches, but taking each replacement, making some sort of a permanent solution in a patchwork type of a fashion. But then we have to look at a full lawn replacement program, which could be, it could be a 5-10 year project. But we are going to have to get out of the Floratam business into some other sort of a grass and into the Florida friendly if we're going to be able to afford to keep up our curb appeal and the beauty of this community.
All right, thank you, John. Pat, go ahead, you have 2 minutes. What do you see as the most pressing issue before the patio board and why?
Well, of course, the first thing, I do agree with John that the sod issue has been a thorn in the patio board side for a number of years. But I also am concerned about getting our documents updated and rewritten. Our governing documents, which really controls how we do everything and when we do it, has not been totally rewritten since the developer actually started this development. Obviously, that's been over 20 years, so much of that is is out of date. We have updated some parts of it, but we still need to work on it. One of the reasons that we started this issue about the second roof was in order to get our documents to say what it is that we are going to do. So that's what I see as one of the biggest issues.
All right, thank you, Pat. We'll now move on to Bob. Bob, what do you see as the most pressing issue before the patio board and why? You have 2 minutes.
Okay, I think the sod issue is, I mean, that seems to be the one that's most pressing because it makes us look really bad. And to wait for the long term, I understand what John is talking about. That sounds like that's a wonderful idea, but the way a committee works and the way these things work, by the time we get a long-term solution, everybody's grass is going to be dead. So I think we ought to press on and patch up and make everything look good. I don't, whether it's good money over bad, but until such time as we come up with a long-term solution, we need to make sure we do it, take care of the lawn we have.
Can I respond to that?
Not in this time, you'll have a chance later.
Okay.
You all done? Thank you, Bob. All right, we're going to move on to the next question. This is a question for everybody, and we're going to begin with Pat. Pat, patio dues are increasing at an alarming rate. Can you give 2 to 3 specific ideas on what you will do to manage or slow down the increase in dues? Go ahead, you have 2 minutes, Pat. We're hearing they have picture, no sound.
Who is he starting with? I'm sorry, I could not hear that.
All right, Pat, you're starting on this one.
Okay.
And the question is, patio dues are increasing at an alarming rate. Can you give 2 to 3 specific ideas on what you will do to manage or slow down the increase in dues? 2 minutes.
We began, of course, as John put so nicely together, the issue of having a second roof. If we were to continue putting roofs on after the first one is put on by everyone, then our dues would continue to escalate dramatically. We have, I think, shown that, or John has shown that very clearly. So that is obviously one thing that we can do. Turning more of our lawns into Florida friendly should be some help as far as the sod issue is concerned. We're turning into an area almost like Arizona, where we can't afford to actually have large areas of sod anymore if this is going to be the issue, especially with the climate change problems. So those are 2 of them. The third one is really being fiscally responsible. I think the board has tried to do that, but we can always find areas to cut corners. That means that there are going to be some things that will have to slide, but we, as a board, should be responsible for trying to cut as many corners as we can without sacrificing how the place looks.
All right, thank you, Pat. Next is going to be Bob. I'll read the question again for you. Patio dues are increasing at an alarming rate. Can you give 2 to 3 specific ideas on what you will do to manage or slow down the increase in dues? 2 minutes.
Well, the increase in dues hasn't been that much as far as I'm concerned, and I've been paying dues since 2004 rather, and I've seen them go up, yes, but then as I was touring around and looking, I've been looking at properties all over the South, and good properties in the South are far more expensive than here. I know this is cow country and all that, but it still is pretty darn reasonable. And the only thing that I can think of that to keep it from going up anymore is to not have that second roof. I think that's one roof is enough, and if we had the second roof, it would be an additional $60 a month for the property, for the patio. They're the only things I can see so far as slowing it down. Now, I can't address other kinds of expenses that because I'm not on site.
All right, thank you very much. John, do you want me to reread the question to you?
No, Joe.
All right, go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
In the past 7 years, the dues have gone up $33 a month. That's $4.71 a month. Pretty much the rate of inflation. So I don't think the past has been that alarming, in my opinion. Over the next 4 years, they're going to go up 6% a month. And the reason for that is driven by the insurance industry. We had to change our plan and move from 22-year replacement up to 20-year replacement, and that was just done by the insurance industry changing their standards. Another thing they're doing is they're also changing their standards for homes that are sold. Homes that are sold, they won't insure homes with a roof over 15 years old now, so that's a new development. But that has driven us to have a higher than average increase for the next 4 years. But after that, and the roof replacements are done in 2028, we have a great opportunity to really to reduce our rates and become very competitive in our marketplace. Our assessments after 2028 are basically going to be $200 a month or less. And I see, and we're planning to basically maintain that through 2050. So if that's for the next 22 years, we're looking at rates of $200 a month, give or take a few bucks. And that's something that we control because you're going to make that choice when you decide what we want to do with the second roof. So with only 41 seconds left, I think I'll end my answer at this point. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. All right, this next question is for Bob only. Okay, Bob?
Yeah.
Question is, we seem to have a serious problem here in Wellington with lawn replacements. Some homes have had numerous lawns replaced at a high cost to the HOA. How would you try to find a solution to this issue?
Well, the only way I can, lawn replacement is part of what we're supposed to be doing. So I don't know how to tell you to make them cheaper other than, or less expensive, other than try to lessen the amount of lawn and go to wood chips or something like that that doesn't need the watering, and put more trees in and put more stone around it to lessen the amount of grass that needs watering. And that goes along with the watering system. That could be changed as well. The watering system would have to be moved so it doesn't sprinkle water all over the roads and areas where grass is not there. So those kinds of things can be done and should be done actually as part of what John's talking about with a whole new design for what they call it, Florida-friendly grass systems. So I think that should be a part of that as well, and that should certainly lessen the expense. But in the meantime, I think that we need to keep our place attractive, because you bring somebody in there and they look across the street and their lawns are dead. That's not attractive at all, and it decreases your home value enormously. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, thank you. This next question is for all of you, and we'll begin this time with Bob.
Oh.
What is your opinion of the roof replacement terms of the patio home agreement in regards to advancing an individual roof placement so as to facilitate a solar power roof system?
Well, solar power roof system is probably a good idea, but it has to be facing the south. So, and I think that not all homes are situated, so you can't see the solar power from the street. And that's one of the stipulations that are in the architecture review board, I believe. So maybe we could reconsider that if some of the solar panel, I think they're doing much better with solar panel systems that blend in with roofing. That could be considered, and so we should look into that as well, especially for those that have swimming pools that need to have those pools heated.
All right, thank you. John, do you want me to repeat that question?
I don't think so,
All
Joe. Solar power, which are the solar panels, of course, heat hot water and heat your home, etc., as I understand it, can greatly diminish the life of a asphalt shingle roof. They create pockets of heat and moisture between that and the roof that diminish the length and the term of the roof's lifespan. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but that's what I've been told. In addition to that, currently with our current roofing contractors, it voids the warranty on the shingle, as I understand that as well. So that is why we have a policy of not allowing the roof-mounted solar power systems here in the Wellington. And I guess we could look into it further if there is such a demand for it. People are allowed to put it on, but basically they have to release us of the obligation to maintain, repair, and replace their roof, if that's the case. But we can look into it if there is such a demand for it. But right now, the policy is what it is, and there's reasons for it. And perhaps we can revisit that with the second roof replacement as well. So.
All right. Pat, would you like me to repeat the question for you?
No, I think I've got the general idea of what the
All right.
question was.
Yeah.
It's about solar panels. The solar panels obviously are at the discretion of each homeowner. We would, as a board, would not have anything to do as far as how they put them on, or I should say, not how we have to do with how they put them on, but not whether they have them or not. And it has become more of an issue, I think, that we can't we can't design various laws against that because it is a green issue, and that is becoming more important. Now, as John mentioned, if you do put solar panels on, obviously you run the risk of negating your warranty on your roof. So that would be each individual person's thought on that.
All right, thank you, Pat. We have another question for Bob Klein again, alone.
Okay.
The current patio board is in the process of writing our DCCR documents. What issues do you see need to be corrected and why? 2 minutes.
Well, I looked at the new document, and it's actually a pretty good document, but it hasn't been passed. So I don't know if I have any issue with it at all, because I looked at it and it should pass.
All right, thank you. The next question is for all three candidates. John, we're going to begin with you this time. Seems like people are very interested about roofing, and here's a little different take on it. A metal roof reflects heat and thus saves AC costs. Lasts about 60 years, comes in colors, could lower one's house insurance they have. Would it not make sense to investigate the cost of a metal roof for the first roof replacement? Could you not offer to give the current roof replacement cost to a homeowner, and the homeowner could opt to pay the difference between the cost of the current shingle replacement and the cost of a metal roof?
Okay, bunch of questions there.
Yes.
Let's start with conformity. In our DCCRs, there's a paragraph referring to conformity. Our community and the architectural plan for this community, when it was planned and platted out, was that we would look alike, that our models that face the street would look alike, that our color schemes would be in compatibility with one another, that our roofs would be pretty much all one and the same. The metal roof, especially on a one-off or a first roof replacement, I don't see that being an option at this point in time. If I do recall, in the DCCRs, I have them here, but I wouldn't be able to find them in this time slot here, but I don't recall if it says an asphalt shingle roof or not, but I do think it does say a roof of a like replacement. So some language to that effect, which means I think we might be obligated to replace it with a shingle roof, an asphalt shingle roof. And to switch in the middle of the roof replacements when we have some 260 roofs replaced and another 476 roofs to go, I don't think that the community, well, I shouldn't speak for the community, but personally I don't think that that's a switch that we should make. Now, looking at the second roof perhaps, we're looking at funding a second roof, we're looking at various plans. What we haven't done is put together a bid spec. If at some point in time we want to consider a metal roof, that can be included in the bid spec. But the research that I've done on it is that they are much more expensive. So that basically drives the upfront cost to where we talked about the assessments being perhaps overwhelming now. Well, if we drive up the front end of putting on metal roofs in the future, I just don't think it's affordable for us. So I think it's a question that I wouldn't want to shut the door on. I would on the first roof. On the second roof, I wouldn't shut the door on it, but I really would have to look into it with a lot more information and from the roofing experts.
All right, thank you. Pat, you will be next. Would you like me to reread the question?
No, I think I've got the question.
All right, 2 minutes.
First of all, there is a provision, John, I think this is what you're referring to. There is a provision in the DCCRs, or there was in the original DCCRs, and I think it's contained in the new edition of it, that metal roofs will not be allowed in Wellington. I think that was because at the time that those documents were written, metal roofs were not particularly attractive. Since that time, there have been metal roofs created that look like shingled roofs. So it is an issue that probably should be addressed if and when we go on and put on a second roof, because obviously the time span that it could be used would be a whole lot longer and would probably negate having to put any other roof on. That being said, we certainly can't stop doing the shingle roofs now and consider the metal roofs, because that would be counterproductive to what we're doing. So in order to finish our first roofing, we would have to continue with our shingles.
All right, thank you, Pat. And Bob, I believe you got a chance at this one. Would you like me to reread it?
Yes, please.
A metal roof reflects heat and thus saves air conditioning costs. Lasts about 60 years, comes in colors, could lower one's house insurance they have. Would it not make sense to investigate the cost of a metal roof for the first roof replacement? Could you not offer to give the current roof replacement cost to a homeowner, and the homeowner could opt to pay the difference between the cost of the current shingle replacement and the cost of a metal roof?
Well, that's an option that we could consider. I think that's a reasonable option to consider. Not that we'd approve that, especially as far along as John has mentioned in replacing the roofs of the 700 plus patio homes that we have. I think we ought to press on and get them done as fast as possible. The only thing I have to say about the roofs, though, is it's being funded there's no line item in the budget for roofs. It's in the reserves. And so you got to break it. It's just in case we already have some in the reserves, I think it ought to be a line item that it specifies so many roofs per year and add it in there instead of being in the reserves, John. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have 3 questions remaining. The first of those 3 is just for John and Pat. And you'll understand why. We'll take a brief pause here. There we go. All right, we'll start with Pat this time. Pat, why are you running for re-election?
Oh my.
Well, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I had thought that maybe I wouldn't run for re-election this year, but I became really quite excited about this issue of roofing and whether we're going on to the second roof. I've been very concerned about that for a number of years, and to have it begun and have it started then was, I think, one of my biggest reasons. The other one is I was instrumental in getting the original rewrite that did not pass as yet on the DCCRs, and it's one of those things that I said I would take that on, and it isn't finished, and so I feel I need to finish it to finish out my involvement with the board.
All right, thank you, Pat. John, do you want me to repeat that?
I don't think I need to repeat that question,
right.
Joe. I've been doing this now for 6.5 years. I've been the treasurer for that long. I don't have an accounting background. I'm basically a business operations guy, an executive type position. But I took on this roofing project. I own it, it's my baby, and I'd like to see it through to completion, to be honest with you. The second roof became another challenge, which obviously you've seen how much work I've put into that. And we have this new challenge with the lawns as well. But I do like serving the community. I think it's part of my obligation as a homeowner here. I do earn a living off of as a realtor here. I feel the same obligation toward my church, and I just like serving my community, and this is what I do, and I want to see it through to the end.
Thank you, John. This question next is for Bob. We see from your resume that you have held many positions for a short period of time. Can you explain why you seem to move around so much?
Well, I take great issue with that. I spent 25 years in the Navy. I spent 8 years in an airline. I spent 10 years as a president of an IT company, and I spent 10 more, almost 11 years, as a program manager for another company at NIH. I don't see any moving around at all. That's 25 and 8 and 10 and what is it, 11? That's I don't see how you see that.
We won't ask how old you are.
No, please don't.
All right, thank you. This is the last question that will be for everybody. We will start with Pat this time. The question is, will you be requesting quotes for the painting and the roofs? 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Will you be requesting quotes for the painting and the roofs?
We will be taking quotes for the roofs, the painting. That contract is not due to be up yet, but we will probably be looking at doing that whenever it is due to be up. I think a new one just started, but I'm not sure on that. But the roofs, we will definitely go out to bid on those.
All right, thank you, Pat. Bob, your turn. Will you be requesting quotes for the painting and the roofs?
Absolutely, we ought to put out RFPs for everything we do. That's part of management, and that's what we ought to get, and require that that our management company, property managers prepare RFPs and send them out, and we review the proposals that come in, and we select the ones that meet our needs. That's the way, and then the proposals that meet our needs, and we go out with approval to the with information to the homeowners, let everybody know what we're doing, and that's what we ought to be doing all the time. Now, I can't gripe about that because we have not been present on property until now. So, but we're paying attention now as what's going on and who's doing what and who's responsible for what. And as an old Navy man, I held people responsible for what they're supposed to be doing. Especially as a program manager, I've written a lot of contracts and I've responded to a lot of RFPs. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Well, the answer is definitely yes. The first contract that's coming up for bid is the radar contract. And I fully endorse putting it out to bid. There's a committee already convened and we'll be meeting shortly. It's a committee, a joint committee between the master board and the patio board to put together a bid spec. And I believe we're going to be asking Russ Colombo to represent our board on that committee, because Russ has been a positive critic with good ideas as to some things to hold our contractor accountable and to measure the performance of our contractor, that being Rado in this particular case. So I fully encourage Russ to participate in that committee, and we should be putting that contract out to bid. Not that Rado won't retain it, but they might not. After that, the next contract that will go out to bid in 2022 will be the first roofing contract. We have, if I recall, about 156 roofs to do in the very first year, and that will be put out to bid and put out to bid each successive year, although we might have a provision to extend if it's a good contract for another year or two. So yes, the roofing contract will go out to bid. And after that, the painting contract, we just entered into a 5-year agreement with him, so that's going to expire in 5 years, and we will put the painting contract out to bid as well. But I'd like to add one more thing. I mean, I would encourage, and I'd like to start a discussion along the lines here somewhere, that we should also put our contract management company's contract out to bid as well. I mean, that's another vendor, and that's another contract that should be looked at. Not to say that they're not doing a good job. All of our vendors, I think, are doing good jobs, but we want to make sure that, that they're keeping up with the times, that we're getting our money's worth, and there's not a better value out there, and to basically keep them competitive. That's what putting contracts out to bid accomplishes. You got to keep them competitive. Not that we want to change all the time. We want to make sure we're getting value for our money.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
All right.
That's exactly what
We're now going to get to the point where each of you will have 3 minutes to make a closing statement.
That's what I was talking about.
So we will begin that with Bob.
Yes, sir.
You can make your closing statement for 3 minutes, please.
My closing statement is going to be far less than 3 minutes. I really want to help out here in this community. I offered, I think that I have the chops to do it, and I would like very much to help out, and especially in the areas that are very challenging, and especially in the areas of contract writing and holding people accountable, including our property managers and so forth. They should go out for contract bid as well. So I think that will help us out. It'll make sure we get the best value, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the best value for our homes, the best value for our administration, and so we can we're not overpaying for anything, but we're getting exactly what we think we should have. Thank you.
Thank you. John, 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm not going to need 3 minutes either, but First, I'd like to thank Pat Chafin and Robert Klein for stepping up to the challenge and volunteering their time and talents to serve our community. So thank you very much to both of you. I'd like to add a special thanks to Pat for her service and leadership these past 6 years as Secretary and President. Pat, your style of leadership has refocused this board onto its primary mission of serving all residents with honesty, integrity, and respect. So thank you, Pat. While much of the work has been done, there's much left to do. With one significant project nearing an end, another significant project is looming, that being the lawn replacement, or the lawn situation as a whole. Earlier I wanted to respond to a question that Robert was talking about. In our budget for 2021, the $11 increase all went into the the budget line for lawn maintenance and repair. It's our intent to get caught up with the 2020 front and side yard list and the 2021 front and side yard list. So that will get us caught up by the end of 2021 and hopefully maintain our presence and our curb appeal. During that time, we really have to have a short-term plan as to how we're going to do that in the future. I do not want to continue to replace lawns over and over and over again. I refuse to. So we need a better plan, and during the upcoming year, we have to develop that short-term plan. At the same time, we have to be taking the long-term view as well. The full lawn replacement project is potentially as significant, not as costly, but as significant as a roof replacement project. And we need to decide, what are we going to do? How are we going to fund it? And how will we schedule it, and when will we complete it? So, and it shouldn't take forever, as Bob suggested. We don't have time to let the place go downhill while we're completing our projects. So, while I'm not going to say that. To stay on track, I think it's important to consider stability, continuity, and familiarity with the issues, plans, and the expected results that the community expects from us. That's what I bring to this table and to the election today. 6 years of service, 6 years of results, and the experience and the expertise to tackle the difficult issues for the next 3 years. If you think the board and I have kept our commitment to this community and have kept this community on sound footing, I would ask you to vote for me. And on January 25th, I ask you to vote for me as again, to be reelected to serve another 3-year term as the director of the Patio board here at Wellington. Thank you very much.
Okay, Pat, you have 3 minutes for your closing argument.
Okay. Well, first of all, I hope everyone's had the opportunity to get some of their questions answered, and I appreciate both my fellow candidates and the insight they have brought to this. I do want to thank the patio board, that is the current patio board, because they have been such a good cohesive board, and I think we've increased our communications with the community as a whole. I do apologize for doing this through virtual. As some of you may know, COVID entered the picture when my son was tested positive. He has been tested negative and is fine. He wasn't, I'm not even sure he had it to begin with, but here, that's where we are. And my test will be coming back very shortly, probably by tomorrow. So I hope to see all of you in the clubhouse and around Wellington now that I'm let out of the house. Thank you for your patience and thank you for your attention. It is now time for you to make your decision. Thank you.
Joe, can I, on behalf of the candidates, thank you and Peter and John, and I think Janet at home, for helping us today and for putting on this candidates night. I know I speak for all of us. Thank you very much.
So I hope everybody that's out there that has listened and hung in there through the initial problems we had getting this going will extend that effort to vote. Voting is very important. We have a good selection of candidates here, some hard choices to make. Please vote either by mail or bringing your ballot in or coming in on the day of the election, which is January 25th, 9:30 is the meeting for the Patio HOA annual membership meeting. Vote, come to the meeting, hope to see you. And stay safe all. Goodbye.
Good night.